All right, let's get into it. We're about to tell a story that happens on a scale that's, way too small to see, but with consequences that are absolutely massive. It's a tale of an invisible attack happening right inside our cells and an ancient natural defense that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time. We're basically swimming in radiation every single day. Radio waves, microwaves, even the light we see. But as this spectrum shows, not all radiation is created equal, not by a long shot. We're going to focus way over on the far right end, the high frequency, high energy stuff. We're talking X-rays, gamma rays. That's where things get really interesting and frankly pretty dangerous. So what is it about this high energy radiation that makes it so uniquely destructive? Let's really break down the power of this invisible force. The key word here, the one you really need to remember, is ionizing. All that means is this radiation has enough oomph to physically knock an electron right out of its atom. Just picture an invisible, microscopic bullet. It doesn't just pass through stuff, it slams into molecules, creating this burst of energy and leaving behind a trail of unstable, charged particles we call ions. Okay, so this damage happens in two main ways. First, there's direct action. That's when that radiation bullet scores a direct hit on a critical target, like a strand of your DNA. But actually, the more common way damage happens is through indirect action. See, our cells are mostly water, right? About 70%. When radiation hits a water molecule, it creates something really nasty, a super reactive molecule called a free radical. These things then just pinball around inside the cell, causing all sorts of chaos. And this indirect route, it's responsible for most of the harm. And in this whole chaotic process, what's the number one target? It's our DNA. When DNA gets hit, the results can be really severe. The cell might just die, which is one outcome, or it could mutate. And that's the first step on the road to cancer. It's a tiny, microscopic event with potentially life-altering consequences. To really see how this plays out in a real system, let's zoom in on one of the most vulnerable parts of the entire human body, the small intestine. So the inside of our small intestine isn't some smooth pipe. No, it's this incredibly complex landscape. It's covered in folds and these tiny finger-like things called villi. The whole point is to create a massive surface area for absorbing nutrients. But this amazing design has a catch. It has to be constantly, and I mean constantly, rebuilt. Just how constant are we talking? Get this. Your body sheds and replaces about 100 million intestinal cells every single minute. That is one of the highest rates of cell turnover in your entire body, and it makes the gut incredibly sensitive to anything that messes with cell division. So where is all this non-stop construction happening? It all goes down in these little pockets at the base of the villi called crypts. You can think of them like cellular nurseries. They're packed with the stem cells that are constantly dividing to create all the new cells needed to keep that lining healthy. And right there, that's the critical weak point. So here's the chain of events. When that ionizing radiation comes in, it homes in on those rapidly dividing stem cells in the crypts. First, cell division just stops. Production is shut down. Meanwhile, up on the surface, the old cells are being shed, just like they're supposed to. But now, there are no new cells coming up from the crypts to replace them. The result is what's called villus atrophy. The villi literally shrink, and the entire protective lining just gets stripped away. And the speed of this is just staggering. A significant radiation dose, we're talking 10 gray, can cause a complete stripping of that intestinal lining in a little over a week. It's a swift, catastrophic system failure. So this brings us to a huge question. Faced with such a fundamental, powerful threat, does nature have an answer? Is there a defense against this kind of invisible cellular attack? Well, the answer might not be in some high-tech lab. It might be waiting for us high up in the Himalayas, in a plant that's been a cornerstone of traditional medicine for literally thousands of years. Meet Picrorhiza kurroa. You'll probably hear it called Kutki. It's this small, incredibly tough little herb that doesn't just survive, but thrives in one of the world's most extreme environments, on rocky slopes 3,000 to 5,000 meters up in the Himalayan mountains. And this isn't some recent discovery. Its value has been recognized across so many cultures for centuries. I mean, look at this. Whether you call it Kutki in Hindi, Huhonglian in Chinese, or Katuki in Sanskrit, its use is deeply woven into ancient healing systems, from Ayurveda to traditional Chinese medicine. So what's the secret sauce? What is it about this little plant that makes it so special?
Well, the secret lies in its unique chemical arsenal, compounds it literally evolved to survive its harsh home.
Okay, one of the key groups of compounds here are called iridoid glycosides. You've got picrocide and cookside. Now, plants don't have teeth or claws. Their defense is chemical, and these molecules are intensely bitter, which the plant produces for one simple reason: to stop animals from eating it and to fight off infection.
Then you have another important group, the phenolic compounds, like apocynin. In the plant, these molecules act like rebar, providing structural strength. They also create a physical barrier to protect it from parasites. It's all part of the plant's built-in defense system.
And what's amazing is that when modern scientists started studying these compounds, they found this stunning range of benefits. We're talking powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects, liver protection, immune system regulation, even anti-cancer and heart protective properties. It's the whole package. So, now it's time to bring the two halves of our story together. On one side, we have the attack from ionizing radiation. On the other, the defense from nature's chemical arsenal. Let's see how they match up. This is the showdown. Remember how radiation creates those destructive free radicals that ricochet around the cell? Well, Kutki's compounds, the picrorhizides, are brilliant at scavenging and neutralizing those very same free radicals. Remember how radiation causes widespread oxidative damage? Well, Kutki's compounds can actually boost our body's own natural defenses. And remember the massive inflammation that radiation triggers? Compounds like apocynin deliver a potent anti-inflammatory punch. It's a perfect counter for every move. So here's the bottom line, the absolutely crucial point. The very same chemical defenses that a plant like Kutki evolved over millennia to protect itself from pests, from infections, from environmental stress, just happen to be perfectly designed to counteract the exact types of cellular damage caused by ionizing radiation. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought. As we navigate a world with more and more powerful technologies and all the risks that come with them, could it be that the keys to our own resilience don't lie in some brand new invention, but in the ancient, evolved wisdom of nature's pharmacy? Definitely something to think about.